Welcome back to Mazuri Gardens, which is our botanical zoo style theme park in Planet Coaster. And today we're going to be transforming the back of the park into an Australian themed place of thrills, which is much unlike the so far tame areas elsewhere. So join me for an abundance of highly requested time-lapse and a walkthrough of how we got into this level of detail. So thank you so much for joining me, I always do appreciate it, and you can see we're jumping straight into a time-lapse already and creating some kind of aboriginal art for this Australia themed area in Planet Coaster Console Edition. This is on the Xbox and it was actually created for a console Discord competition that we run over on our Discord, and yeah, I've had really good fun with this, although it was a competition where you weren't allowed any DLC, so you can see we're making really good use of the non-DLC pieces, but I really did struggle and didn't really finish it to the best of my ability, so I've tied it in, and this is kind of an amalgamation of what I builded and getting that extra detail in. I apologise for the lack of build videos recently, as you know, it's really pressurising to try and get building all the time, and especially filming yourself, I do find it difficult to have people watching me as such while building, so I've really enjoyed this, getting back to detail and really taking my time. It's taken me the best part of a month really to get this video to you. So in terms of the art that we're putting down here, it really had to break up the concrete that we've got going down here. It was really a big expanse of land as the transition area from the flamingo area into this area. And what I want to mention really is that this build pretty much takes up, I think it takes, as you can see at the bottom of your screen there, or as you did, it takes I think about 8%. I think we started 52 and then we're on to 60 now. So yeah, really big part of the park already. And we really need to cordon off the park because we've got the whole middle of the park. It's actually not themed at all. We've pretty much made the borders of the park and then not done the middle, which is quite unusual for my build style. So yeah, really getting into it now, and this is going to be a big area of the park. Definitely more for the thrills, this one for the adults. We're kind of on the Busch Gardens kind of route. As I say, we're not really going for the animals anymore. It's no longer a zoo. The animals that we do create, which we'll see in a minute, we do create a crocodile. They'll be kind of fiberglass animals that are just sat in some water maybe. And as you can see now, we're making a bit of a swamp for this Australian outback kind of area. I wasn't too sure, I didn't want to go too stereotypical. We're going just for a bit more wildlife and everything, but you can see a good use of the western pieces definitely, especially with no DLCs in this contest allowed. So the contest entailed basically theming a huge coaster, a big boomerang, and that's basically why I chose this Australian theme, because you know it lends itself perfectly to it, and I think that's just going to be the name of the coaster itself. And then there was also 2 flat rides, one of which we will theme today. So you can see creating this crocodile right now, or alligator. I don't even know what's native to Australia. I do apologise. I didn't do too much research, being honest. But yeah, these credit to Floss, or I think Fua on the Steam Workshop, for creating these. The inspiration that I got from them, I think many years back. I think they created them now. So really happy with how they turned out, and it was really difficult not to actually use the Adventure DLC pieces. Of course, you have crocodiles, alligators in that pack, and it was really difficult to restrict myself to just building with these. So in terms of the other buildings that are in this kind of plaza area, as you can see, we're blocking out this kind of lane that goes right the way down, kind of almost half the width of the park, and it's really going to back onto the car park, which makes this maybe a bit of a car park coaster, although we've got some good theming with the rocks. And in terms of the buildings that form the plaza, as I've been saying, they really do form a bit of a, you know, vending points. We've got barbecues and stuff, all things that you'd expect in Australia, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out. This building, in fact, is inspired by Mass Bandit. I keep saying probably every episode I ever build in, my true inspiration, and I remember this being built in Planet Bro Coaster, and I kind of remember how it built and how it was built, and I had to go back to that episode and take a look. But I really like it, and I just expanded it a little bit and made it a bit more of a, you know, it really suited this theme. And I had to choose a bit of a colour scheme as well. As you can see, we're moving into, you've got a bit of a, you know, a burnt out red, and then a bit more of a yellow, burnt out orange kind of colour. I really like the colour scheme that I've got, especially for the coaster, which is kind of the elephant in the room so far, I guess, because you haven't actually seen it that much. But you know, you're going to see it next episode, so you're going to have to make sure to subscribe so you can see next episode. I really will appreciate that, so you can get more build videos, and we'll do it every single week now. I'm committing to doing a build video every single week to highest quality that I can get, so really excited for that. But yeah, the coaster colour scheme really worked nicely, I think. but we had to tone it down when it came to the building. So I was kind of going over the top, and it looked really tacky in the end. So we toned it down into more of a rustic, and get some more wooden beams and stuff into here, and just make it brown in general. So yeah, that's worked pretty nicely. Getting these little menus across, good use I think again of the art shapes, really making use of the base game. I really respect the likes of Moomin Little Socks with Little Treasure Cove, etc. I was watching that series all the way through and never realised how difficult it was with no DLCs. Of course, I've got a bit of more recent experience with it, because of course Planet Coaster was released not as it was released later than the PC version, but it is still really difficult, and you don't realise how much you miss them until they're taken away from you. So yeah, you can see this is all base game. I probably would have used different pieces when it came to it, but I think I couldn't have done a better job with other pieces. It's really worked well, and I think that's what took so long. I'm sorry it's taken, as I say, the best part of a month to get this to you. It really has taken a long time, but getting back to basics and the no DLCs and getting back to that detail that hopefully you can see in these cinematics and overview here. This is probably my favourite area of the park so far. Probably say that every single episode, but I think the detail that's around here, inspired by Nerd Chacho, with that hill just there, with the Don't Die fencing and a bit of a foliage bank just there. I really liked how Nerd Chacho did that, so a bit similar there, especially with the wooden planks bordering off the path. And then you can see the overheads of the rest of the area really. We're going to jump into Plipcam, so don't worry, you haven't missed anything. I know they were quick overheads, but you can see the mosaic kind of thing on the floor. I really love how that works. It's over 1,000 pieces, but it's definitely worth it. And just flying around with the foliage, really working cohesively well into the area and blending the colours also from the flamingo area, the pinks into the more reds and yellows, which has worked really nicely. So back into a backstage kind of area. I do apologise, of course we've had loads of time-lapse, but I can't time-lapse everything because otherwise the video would be, a month's building. You're going to be looking at probably an hour-long video. So just cutting it down into less than 10 minutes hopefully got you some of the main chunks of what I've built. So going around into these vending areas, of course you've just seen the backstage. You're back onto the access points just back there. I'd like to live stream hopefully in the future, building a bit of a truck or a lorry, a custom one, a bit of a Kubota maybe, kind of vehicle that could go around in that parking space. And then moving on to the gift shop. This was actually built in time lapse. I didn't include the video because in terms of the actual build, it's not very complex in terms of the building. It's got some really nice trims in terms of the beams and everything, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out. But yeah, this was again from Bro Nation Studios, I think, this building. But yeah, credit to Mass Bandit for the idea of that front canopy. I've used that front canopy idea just there, so credit where it's due there. And you can see peeking through these Don't Die fences, you can see to the left hand side we've got the crocodiles looking beautiful as ever in the water. I really like the look of them. And that brings us to this area. I'd really like your suggestions for a bit of a name for this ride. It's a crocodile spinning, whatever. Let me know in the comments section down below. I'll pin your comment and heart it and whatever. And make sure if you're enjoying this video and any any feedback, any queries, suggestions, I'd love to hear them down below, and I'll reply to every comment. So I really appreciate that. You can see that we've got buckets and everything for this, and yeah, really happy with how that's raised up. And then we've got the barbecue at the back end of the park. Or this area just as you exit the queue exit, whatever, we're doing this Elixir. And I know I've got to finish up this video. The outro music is coming on, so if you've enjoyed this video, I really appreciate you subscribing, all that good stuff, and join me next time where we're going to be theming this amazing, huge, incredible, I'd never ride it in real life, I'm too scared, Boomerang coaster.